This audio program by Radio AI is generated using artificial intelligence technologies. The voices you hear in this program are synthetic, and the thoughts they express are shaped through artificial intelligence-driven reasoning and iterative refinement.
Welcome to Radio AI. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into, a really fundamental question, one that shapes pretty much everything around us. Think ecosystems, economies. Is the real key to progress found in competition, or is it cooperation? We're going to explore how these two forces, which we often see as total opposites, actually, intertwine and drive advancement.
Yeah, it's funny how we usually picture it. Competition is this fierce, almost zero-sum struggle, right? And then cooperation feels like everyone holding hands, pooling efforts harmoniously. But the fascinating thing, when you look closely at how complex systems evolve biologically, technologically, socially, is that, both are absolutely integral. It's really not about picking sides. It's more about understanding the specific circumstances that favor one, or maybe more often actually demand they work together.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. If competition is this intense force, does it always lead to the best results? I mean, when I think about the potential downsides, game theory often comes up. Are there clear examples where pure rivalry can actually lead to, worse outcomes for everyone?
Oh, absolutely. Take something fairly standard like a market entry game in economics. You've got maybe several companies all deciding whether to jump into a new market. Now, if they all act purely out of self-interest, without any coordination, you can easily end up where everyone loses money. Or maybe no one enters at all, even if it's a good opportunity. This basic idea, the Nash equilibrium, it shows how rational individual choices don't always add up to the best collective result. It can even sort of stifle innovation if the risks just seem too high for any one player.
That really drives home the hidden costs, doesn't it? The cost of just pure, unbridled rivalry. And it makes me think of the classic prisoner's dilemma, right? Where acting selfishly leads to a worse outcome for both people involved than if they'd cooperated. It's such a stark reminder that pure individual competition can paradoxically just lead to stagnation.
Exactly. That's a perfect illustration. But what's really insightful, I think, is how dramatically these scenarios can shift. The moment you introduce the possibility of cooperation, things change. Mechanisms like, say, open communication, or building a reputation over time, or even just having simple, enforceable agreements.
Yeah.
These can completely transform competitive landscapes. They allow the players to coordinate, to break free from those suboptimal traps and unlock that collective potential.
Okay, so if pure competition has these limits, what about the other side? Cooperation. What makes it actually work? And what makes it break down? We often think about cooperation in terms of coalitions for collective benefit, like the stag hunt idea, where hunters working together can catch a big stag much better than hunting small hares alone. But the crucial thing there, it's trust, isn't it?
You've hit the nail on the head. Trust. It's the absolute bedrock. And that's precisely why institutional mechanisms become so critical. Things like trusted third parties, maybe clear transparency protocols, ways for mutual monitoring. These systems are designed to help cooperation happen and keep it stable. But, and this is important, even systems designed with the best intentions aimed at fostering cooperation can sometimes lead to, perverse outcomes. You might see people start gaming the metrics in a knowledge-sharing network just to look good, for instance. Or maybe dissent gets stifled if the rules are too rigid. It just highlights this constant need for adaptability in how we design incentives. That balance is always shifting.
That's a really powerful point about unintended consequences. And these problems, they often get worse when people don't have the same information, right? Like information asymmetry. If one side knows more than the other, that can totally undermine fair competition, or it could even just break down an alliance. Precisely. And that brings us to how different structures, like organizational structures, actually shape these dynamics. Think about, say, a very rigid hierarchy. It might encourage some internal competition, sure, but it can also really stifle innovation coming from the bottom up. Now, compare that to more distributed networks, maybe like modular research teams that share their methods openly. In those settings, you can actually see local cooperation and healthy competitive experimentation flourishing side by side. Ideas can bubble up much faster. Systems can even spontaneously flip between being mostly competitive and mostly cooperative. It really underlines the need for flexible frameworks, not rigid rules.
Okay, finally, let's touch on resilience. That's the system's ability to bounce back after something goes wrong, right? It feels like this is where that dynamic interplay of competition and cooperation really shows its value. How do systems build that kind of robustness? Well, resilience often comes from things like redundancy, modularity, and adaptive capacity. Think about having multiple ways to get something done or different actors who can step in. It's like designing for failure almost, so that one part breaking doesn't crash the whole system. Now, while these theoretical models give us powerful insights, it's crucial to be humble. We have to acknowledge their limits when faced with messy, real-world complexity, things we didn't model, historical quirks. They can lead to outcomes that surprise us. And this really raises an important question, maybe for you, the listener. How does understanding this really intricate dance between competition and cooperation change how you approach challenges, maybe in your own life or in your work?
It's definitely clear that progress isn't some simple choice, between competition or cooperation. It's much more of a dynamic, constantly evolving interplay that genuinely shapes our world.
Yeah, and perhaps thinking about how you might apply these insights could help foster more robust, more innovative systems around you, whatever that might look like in your context.
Thank you so much for joining us on Radio AI for this exploration. We really encourage you to share any thoughts or reflections you might have in the comments below. Hope to have you with us again on Radio AI. Until next time.